It's happening, the walls around Diddy's empire are crumbling fast, and with every new leak, more names are going down with him, big names. Some of these people were untouchable, protected, powerful, but now they're exposed, cornered, and humiliated, and the worst part, Katt Williams warned us about every single one of them. This week, a brand new set of Diddy-related files dropped, and what's inside is blowing the lid off secrets that were never supposed to see daylight. We're talking hidden audio, redacted names, and industry deals that suddenly don't make sense when you realize who was behind them. Some are rappers, some are actors, a few are shockingly close to Diddy. And every single one of them is now being called out as frauds, gatekeepers, or silent enablers. But it's what Katt Williams said months ago that's haunting everyone. Because if you go back and listen to that interview, the one that everyone tried to dismiss as paranoid ranting, you'll realize he didn't just throw random shade. He was dropping warnings. He named names, described behaviors, spoke on rituals, backdoor deals, and blackmail culture in hip-hop. And now the receipts are finally catching up. Celebs who laughed at him are suddenly real quiet, brands are pulling back, and fans. They're calling this the biggest reckoning the industry's seen in years. It's not just Diddy under fire anymore, it's the circle around him. The ones who knew, the ones who benefited. The ones who stayed silent while he built an empire on manipulation and control. You want names, you want connections, you want to know why everyone is panicking now. Get ready, because once you hear this list, you won't look at these celebrities the same way ever again. Long before the latest bombshell leaks shattered Diddy's carefully protected world, there was one voice screaming from the shadows, loud, unfiltered, and completely unbothered by the consequences. Katt Williams, for years he was painted as the unhinged comic, the troublemaker, the guy who couldn't stay out of drama. But what if he was never the problem? What if he was the only one telling the truth while the rest of Hollywood played blind? Because now, as Diddy faces the biggest crisis of his career, multiple investigations, lawsuits, and a trail of leaked footage and testimony that has the industry shaking, the people Katt once called out by name are suddenly scrambling. It's not just Diddy that's being exposed, it's the entire machine that enabled him. But to understand just how deep this goes, we have to rewind way back to when Katt first started hinting at something darker. This wasn't a man casually name-dropping for clout. This was someone inside the rooms, someone who saw it all and walked away. Katt's history with Diddy goes beyond passing shade. Behind the laughter and jabs was a clear pattern. Interviews that seemed random at the time now read like prophecies. He called out fake moguls, warned about entertainers who would sell their soul for a step up, mentioned hotel parties that had nothing to do with celebration and everything to do with initiation. In a now iconic sit-down, Katt said this: "You think all your favorites got to the top because of talent? You think they stayed clean and got deals worth millions just off bars and beats? You better wake up, there's a price for fame." And some of them paid in silence. At the time, people laughed, some dismissed it as bitter energy, but he wasn't bitter, he was furious. Furious at a system that rewarded obedience over authenticity. Furious at peers who watched people get hurt behind closed doors and said nothing. Furious at moguls like Diddy who smiled for cameras while allegedly burying secrets under paychecks and NDAs. And now, those secrets are erupting. The most recent set of leaks, allegedly tied to Diddy's ongoing federal scrutiny, have unleashed a tidal wave of shame, receipts, and unbelievable connections. Some files are redacted, others blurred, but the names being whispered behind the scenes are becoming impossible to ignore. This isn't just about Diddy throwing wild parties or being eccentric. This is about patterns, long-term patterns of manipulation, power plays, and silence enforced by fear. And Katt knew the timeline fits. The moments Katt pointed out, the names he danced around, the music video sets he said were never what they seemed. They're all coming full circle now. What makes it worse? Some of the people caught in this storm knew it was coming. A-list celebrities, hosts, CEOs, influencers, even major platform execs, people who saw the smoke but helped cover it with PR. And now that the fire's out of control, they're trying to run. But they can't, not anymore, because fans, they've turned into investigators. Every old interview is being clipped, every red carpet moment reanalyzed, every Instagram comment revisited. Who was laughing too hard? Who looked too nervous? Who changed the subject when Diddy's name came up? The answers are all there, and Katt, once again, wasn't lying. He once said, "They laughed when I warned y'all." But wait until the curtains fall, then let's see who's still laughing. Now, ain't nobody laughing. One by one, big names are finding themselves caught in the aftershock. Some have already been outed in documents tied to settlements. Others were spotted in resurfaced footage that the internet can't unsee. A few tried to get ahead of it with vague apologies or "I had no idea" posts, but the damage is done. One leaked security clip allegedly shows a prominent male rapper entering a Diddy-hosted mansion event at nearly 3 a.m., unannounced. Another leak points to a well-known talk show host allegedly being present for two controversial NDA signings that are now under federal review. And still no comment, no statements, just silence and panic behind closed doors. Which brings us back to the core of this entire unraveling. This isn't just about humiliation, it's about exposure. It's about a moment where the entertainment industry's dirtiest corners are finally lit up, and those who thrived in the dark are being dragged into the light. And Katt Williams. He's watching it all unfold like a man who saw the storm clouds before anyone else even checked the sky. This is the moment he warned us about, the players he warned us about, the system he walked away from so he wouldn't end up like the ones who stayed. Now, 7 of those names are trending for all the wrong reasons, and we're about to break them down one by one, who they are, how they got dragged into Diddy's downfall, and what Katt Williams said long before the world caught on. The list begins quietly, but it doesn't stay quiet for long. These are names that carried weight. Names people respected, admired, even idolized. But when the new leaks dropped, the internet saw a side of them that was never meant to be public. What once looked like success now looks like secrets. And Katt Williams. He didn't just hint at their involvement, he laid the groundwork years ago. 1. Clive Taylor, the former executive who always managed to stay in the background. On paper, Clive was just another industry consultant. But the leaks show something far darker. Multiple redacted testimonies claim Clive was one of the first gatekeepers to introduce rising artists to Diddy's private events. His job, not talent scouting, vetting. Finding the ambitious, the desperate, the willing. In a newly unsealed document, Clive is described as present during sessions in which performers were told to prove their loyalty in ways that never involved music. Katt had warned about executives with clean shoes but dirty hands. At the time, everyone thought it was metaphorical. Now it's literal, too. Dana Reed, a household name in radio. Known for their smooth voice and slick interviews, Dana was often seen as a neutral figure. But the latest drop shows numerous payments from Diddy-affiliated accounts sent directly to Dana's media firm. These payments, buried under consulting, now appear to be linked to media suppression packages, efforts to kill stories about Diddy's behavior before they reach the public. Katt once said, "There's people whose entire job is keeping the truth from hitting a microphone. Some of y'all faves, they got hush money dripping from their Spotify deals. Dana's name was not supposed to be in this mess, but here we are." 3. J. Rivers, a once beloved R&B artist who had a career revival after collaborating with Diddy in the late 2010s. The files show J. Rivers wasn't just a collaborator, he was co-hosting events. One document links him to multiple nights at Diddy's Miami estate, some of which are under federal review. In one leaked group text, Rivers is seen joking about breaking in the new kids, followed by a set of emojis that nobody's laughing at now. Katt referenced Rivers subtly, once calling him a singer who don't sing unless Diddy tell him to. That comment aged like acid, but things really escalated when a 4th name hit the surface, because this one. Everyone thought he was above this kind of scandal. 4. Marcus "Marky" Flint, a social justice influencer turned business mogul. For years, Marky was the go-to guy for conscious capitalism, preaching ethics in entertainment. But the leaks connect him directly to property transfers from shell companies allegedly used by Diddy to hide cash flow. One property in particular, a Beverly Hills penthouse, was quietly signed over to Marky in 2020, just weeks after a now-deleted complaint about disturbing behavior at that same address. Katt went off in a 2018 stand-up routine. You ever notice how the loudest voices about integrity always got the quietest pasts? That's because they paid someone to erase it. Fans are now wondering if that was a shot at Marky, because the timeline fits a little too well. 5. Charis Maddox, this is where it gets messy. Charis was once known for running one of the most respected PR firms in urban media. She handled crisis management for everyone. But newly leaked files show that Charis may have helped Diddy craft NDAs that silenced victims, not just legally, but psychologically. These blackout NDAs, as they're now being called, allegedly included threats of career sabotage and reputational warfare. One document shows that her firm received over $2.1 million in special privacy consulting payments from companies tied to Diddy. Katt's warning, some of these crisis managers don't clean up messes. They bury them alive. Charis hasn't responded, but her company's website has been temporarily down for the past 72 hours. So that's 5 names, 5 faces we thought we knew. 5 lives now tainted by proximity, action, or silence. But the 6th name was the one that changed everything. 6. Andre Love, a popular comedian and actor who once mocked Katt on national TV. That clip resurfaced immediately after his name showed up in the leaks, alongside 2 damning pieces of evidence. First, a flight log showing Andre traveling to the Bahamas on a private Diddy jet during a weekend known internally as House of Ice. That event, which was once dismissed as a lavish getaway, is now the subject of an intense probe for suspected coercion and manipulation of talent. Second, a phone transcript showing Andre reaching out to silence an up-and-coming stand-up comic who was rumored to have witnessed something disturbing at a party hosted by Diddy in 2019. The message: "We can get you signed. Just chill out and stop running your mouth." Katt's old tweet about Andre is now being passed around like prophecy. Funny how some comedians lose their edge once they get invited to the wrong party. You know who you are, and the internet definitely knows now. But just when the narrative was starting to settle, the seventh name broke the internet. Because this was personal. 7. Trevor TK Sutter, a former security chief turned podcast host who pretended to be a whistleblower. For months, TK claimed he was dropping truth bombs about Diddy's behavior, speaking from inside knowledge. He built a fanbase on TikTok, did dozens of live streams, and even got booked for interviews across multiple platforms. But the new files show TK was on payroll, not recently, during the time he was posting. Internal emails show that TK was allegedly planted to control the narrative, a damage control tactic disguised as a leak. Fans are furious. They followed this man believing he was the voice of the truth. Now they know he was playing both sides. One line in a leaked email from Diddy's crisis team reads, "Keep TK engaged." He's useful for buffering attention away from redacted. Katt warned about this too. They'll hire a fake traitor just to distract you from the real ones. It was a brutal twist, but it wasn't the end. Because just as the leaks were settling in, just as fans started putting together timelines, video clips, and archived interviews, a second wave dropped. And this time, it wasn't just about names. It was about actions, footage. Contracts, handwritten letters, celebrities in places they shouldn't be, voices whispering things they can't take back. One clip in particular shows an unnamed celebrity, identity blurred, voice altered, saying, "Diddy got dirt on everybody. That's how he stays rich, that's how they stay quiet." That single sentence shattered the illusion of control. Suddenly, it wasn't about who was involved, it was about who else might still be hiding. The twist, a list, one more list, untouched. Not yet published, rumored to have 12 more names, including people nobody dared to suspect. And Katt, he posted a simple tweet, "I told y'all, and I'm just getting started." The rumors of a second list weren't just true, they were worse than anyone expected. What fans thought was a conspiracy has now exploded into a certified crisis. As of this week, that unreleased list of 12 additional names, which was quietly circulating among attorneys, executives, and media insiders, has now been partially confirmed, thanks to a major leak from an anonymous whistleblower who posted screenshots to an encrypted server titled, "Operation Silence, Targets Connected to Diddy's Black Vault." Within 24 hours, that server was taken offline, but not before over 38,000 users downloaded everything. The internet has never moved faster. On that list were some names we expected, but others, iconic figures, Hollywood legends, and even a chart-topping female artist with multiple Grammys, someone nobody expected to be tied to this storm. But the most jaw-dropping piece of the leak wasn't just the names, it was the footage. Raw, grainy, low-light recordings, reportedly pulled from security cameras, burner phones, and hidden devices placed inside multiple Diddy-owned properties, specifically his Miami compound and LA mansion. These clips weren't just messy, they were career-destroying. You could see celebrities, A-listers, moving through spaces that were clearly marked private, at hours that made no sense, wearing disguises, avoiding cameras, shielding their faces. The context, supposed industry mixers. The reality, controlled environments, encrypted doors, people entering with phones confiscated, NDAs signed, and surveillance wiped by morning. But someone kept backups. And now those backups are being leaked piece by piece. One clip, already verified by at least 2 reporters, shows Andre Love, the same comedian named earlier, speaking with what sounds like a distressed younger voice off camera. His words, "I know it's messed up, but you gotta understand, this is how it works out here. You play the game, you get the reward, that's how it's always been." The video ends mid-sentence, but the internet didn't need the rest. Within minutes, Andre's PR rep announced a social media break and disabled all his comments. Fans who once idolized him now call him the smiling recruiter. Memes exploded. His podcast sponsors pulled out. Netflix removed his latest special from their homepage. It was a collapse in real time, but that wasn't the end. The second video sent the internet into meltdown. This one allegedly showed Sharis Maddox, the crisis PR queen, in a private FaceTime call with a man who appears to be organizing cleanup operations after an incident. The audio is distorted, but a few words are chillingly clear. "No police, I'll handle the media. Just get the phones and wipe the backups. We've done this before." The date stamp, December 3rd, 2022, 2 days before a known lawsuit was abruptly withdrawn without explanation. Now fans are connecting the dots. Every time a scandal was about to break around Diddy, Sheris's name was involved. She wasn't cleaning messes. She was allegedly erasing evidence. Which explains why Funky Dineva, DJ Akademix, and even Charlamagne Tha God went live in emergency mode, dropping statements, giving disclaimers, and warning their followers to be careful with what they repost. The industry was entering panic mode. And as for Katt Williams, he sat back, watching, until he made his move. Katt dropped a 45-second voice note on his own podcast channel titled, "Y'all thought I was crazy, I was just early." In it, he says, "You don't need to believe me, just watch who starts running. Watch who starts apologizing for stuff you didn't know they did. Watch the collabs disappear, the sponsors run, the tour dates cancel. That's not coincidence, baby. That's karma on cue." And just like that, the internet shifted focus to who was disappearing. One Grammy-winning female artist, name redacted for legal reasons, abruptly postponed her tour dates in Europe, citing mental health concerns. But bloggers were quick to point out that she had just done an interview praising Diddy as the only mentor who kept it real. That clip aged like milk. Another name, DJ Juno, who was rising fast in the culture podcast scene, locked his accounts after users surfaced old tweets about the initiation nights at Diddy's mansion being wild but worth it. Fans were not amused. Meanwhile, Charlamagne quietly removed over 27 episodes of Brilliant Idiots and The Breakfast Club that featured Diddy guest appearances or references. No explanation, just wiped. Even Bet released a vague internal memo about reevaluating all archived content involving Sean Combs and affiliated persons, which led fans to speculate, what are they hiding, what do they know? But the true chaos hit when one anonymous former bodyguard came forward in a video, face blurred, voice masked, claiming that he personally witnessed a celebrity breakdown after being forced to watch something at one of these events. His quote, "It wasn't just what I saw, it was what they made him do." He cried after, said he'd never be the same. "That's when I knew I had to quit." Fans immediately began speculating who he was. Several young artists who blew up suddenly after being spotted at Diddy's properties are now facing massive scrutiny. Reddit threads are breaking it down frame by frame. TikToks are circulating timelines, cross-checking flights, party guest lists, and even Uber routes. It's obsession on steroids, but just as the storm reached peak velocity, Diddy's legal team made a critical misstep. They tried to threaten the whistleblower who leaked the 12-name list. The cease and desist letter, it got leaked too, and in it was a reference to a vault, a digital one, not metaphorical, not symbolic, a literal encrypted vault reportedly containing video evidence, NDAs, settlement records, audio confessions, and full-name contracts. The whistleblower posted a single line in response, "You can't threaten what's already been released. I'm not the only one with access. If I go quiet, check the Dropbox." And now fans are waiting for Volume 3, Katt Williams. Still hasn't blinked. He's been uploading content almost daily, never name-dropping directly, but leaving breadcrumbs. And his followers are decoding every word like it's scripture. In one recent post, he said, "There's levels to betrayal. Some sell you out for a check, others do it just to sit at the table. But the ones who knew, stayed quiet, and watched it all happen, they're the worst kind because they made silence their currency. And baby, now that silence is broke. So what's next? That depends on what's in that vault and who's willing to go down to protect it. Because from what we've seen so far, this isn't just the fall of Diddy, it's a full-blown reckoning. You'd think the public would be numb by now. After all, scandal is nothing new in the world of fame. But the Diddy Vault leaks, they hit different. They didn't just expose bad behavior. They pulled back the curtain on a decades-long system of power, manipulation, and silence. And now that the world knows who helped protect it, nobody's staying quiet anymore. The internet on fire. The hashtags alone tell the story. Number Vault victims, number industry silences violence, number Katt was right, number who was in the room fan theories are spiraling. TikTok is overloaded with creators doing timeline breakdowns. Old award show clips are being dissected frame by frame. Mouths are being read, glances analyzed. One user created an entire documentary-style thread analyzing celebrity body language during Diddy's past birthday bashes, and another compiled every time someone awkwardly changed the subject when Diddy's name came up in interviews. People are treating this like Watergate meets Surviving R. Kelly, and for good reason. But the real eruption started when Katt Williams fans began calling for apologies, loudly, everywhere, under videos, in live streams, on merch sites. On Hollywood's most sanitized Twitter pages. Where's the apology to Katt? Y'all clowned him when he tried to warn us. He said what you were too scared to say, and now look, even old Katt haters are flipping sides. That infamous clip of Kevin Hart mocking Katt's career is being stitched into apology montages. One user added somber piano music in the caption. "He told the truth and got blackballed. Y'all laughed." Now we're watching his prophecy play out frame by frame. but the celebrity reactions are where things got brutal. First up, Cardi B, she tweeted, "This industry dirty AF. Ain't even surprised no more." She didn't name names, but the timing, just minutes after the vault clips surfaced. Fans flooded her mentions. "Say the names, sis. You saw stuff too, didn't you?" Her response, "I got stories. I just ain't suicidal. Let that marinate." Meanwhile, Boosie Badazz, never one to hold back, went full scorched earth in a ranty Instagram live. "I been told y'all that Freaky Island stuff ain't no rumor. That man been wild. Them parties, them meetings, it's all real. Ask them rappers who don't talk no more. Ask why they gone." He didn't stop there. He named 3 artists who fell off after refusing to attend certain events. He didn't provide proof. He didn't have to. The energy in his live was enough to go viral, with over 7 million views in 24 hours. Meek Mill, on the other hand, tweeted something vague. "I'm just staying focused. Y'all can play with the devil if y'all want." Then he deleted it. The damage already done. But the most unexpected reaction came from Taraji P. Henson, who posted a cryptic quote to her story. "I've seen too much to act like I haven't. Healing is hard when you've been surrounded by harm disguised as opportunity." She didn't elaborate. She didn't have to. The timing was everything. Meanwhile, actual industry insiders are talking too, but only off the record. Entertainment journalists have reported over 17 canceled meetings at major music labels since the second vault drop. A few unnamed execs are allegedly considering retirement before their names get added to the next document batch. An anonymous assistant from a top streaming platform even leaked an email internally forwarded by legal teams, urging executives to scrub all marketing and historical content involving Diddy-affiliated artists or flagged collaborators. In short, they're preemptively erasing the evidence before the public sees it, but fans aren't letting that happen quietly. Reddit and Discord servers are now archiving everything. Old interviews, deleted IG lives, scrubbed Twitter threads. Everything is being saved, documented, and labeled for future reference. Why? Because the trust is gone. The public now sees how many celebrities knew and said nothing. How many watched other people fall into dark places just to protect their own bags? How many cashed the checks and signed the contracts, knowing they were built on someone else's trauma? And at the center of all this, Diddy's silent. No apology, no appearance, just silence, which is making things worse. Fans now believe he's not just hiding, he's planning. There's a growing fear that more cleanup attempts are being made behind the scenes. That certain celebrities are being coached on what to say, that media platforms are filtering what gets shared, but Katt's followers are not letting up. They're calling out networks, tagging radio stations, demanding retractions for past coverage that mocked him. One user even created a map of every podcast that dismissed Katt's 2023 viral interview and is now urging people to boycott them until they publicly acknowledge they got it wrong. The movement is growing. They're calling it "Number Katt was right and it's not a joke anymore." It's a reckoning. Meanwhile, Funky Dineva, who once clowned Katt, has gone radio silent. Charlamagne, still deleting content. Tasha K, teasing that she has more on Diddy but is waiting for legal clearance. And then there's Wendy Williams' old footage. Yes, she's back in the mix now. Clips are going viral of her repeatedly saying, "Puffy is powerful, but nobody's invincible." And that comment aged like crystal. So where does the industry go from here? Nobody knows, but one thing is certain: the vault leaks weren't a wave, they were a tsunami. And now every celebrity is on edge, because if the next drop contains what the insiders are whispering about, footage involving even bigger names, this could turn from scandal into collapse. Just when the outrage was reaching a boiling point and celebrities were nervously backpedaling from their past Diddy affiliations, the real twist dropped, quietly, strategically, and with just enough impact to flatten the entire conversation. Because this time, the leak didn't come from a whistleblower. It didn't come from a former assistant, a security guard, or some anonymous Reddit mod. No, this time it came from within. An unlisted video just under 3 minutes long surfaced on a hidden server late at night with the title, "Godfather Call Log, September 2016, East Coast Operations." And what was in it? A grainy video recording of a screen, likely a laptop, showing a folder labeled Vault 6, Accountability Strategy. It opens and a series of internal call recordings begin playing. One voice is unmistakably Diddy's. Calm. Calculated, in full control, but it's what he says that flips the entire timeline upside down. "If anything ever comes out, we control the sequence. We drop it our way. Names we can afford to lose go first. Then let the noise bury the rest. Sacrifices happen." Read that again. Names we can afford to lose go first. It wasn't just chaos. It wasn't just leaks. It was a strategy. The entire rollout of the vault may not have been some sudden explosion. It may have been a controlled burn. Diddy might not just be panicking behind the scenes. He might have started the fire himself. And here's where it gets even darker, because in that same clip, another voice, still unidentified but clearly in agreement, says, Williams is already chirping. Let him, it helps with the misdirection. They'll eat each other alive before they ever get to the core files. Williams, as in Katt, fans immediately erupted. Was Diddy using Katt's public rants as cover? Did he let Katt be the messenger, knowing the chaos would erupt while he slipped out the back with the real secrets still locked up? Because if this is true, then everything we thought was an exposure might have just been a distraction, a sacrifice strategy. That means the 7 names we saw humiliated publicly, they were meant to fall. They were part of the first wave, names we can afford to lose. Which leaves us with one terrifying question: who's still hidden on that list that they couldn't afford to let go yet? What's in the core files? Names even more powerful than the 7 exposed already. Icons, politicians, media owners, people so entrenched in the system that their exposure wouldn't just cancel them, it would collapse entire networks. The comment section of the reposted video says it all. We thought we were watching the takedown. Turns out we were watching the decoy. Katt didn't even know he was being played as part of the rollout. If Diddy planned this, then this is deeper than we ever imagined. Operation Sacrifice. They're feeding us the pawns while the kings stay hidden. And as the video spread across the dark corners of the internet, something even more ominous happened. The vault site went dark, the backup server that held the last 2 major leaks. Offline, no archive, no trace, just a single black screen with white text that read, "System compromised, next upload must be done manually." And below it, a countdown, no explanation, no name, just 12 days on the clock. Fans are calling it Vault Day. Some believe it's a bluff, others believe it's the final upload, the core files Diddy referenced in that call, the untouchables, the real targets, the reason why certain names still haven't been mentioned. Katt Williams has yet to respond, but his last tweet was simple: don't get comfortable. The loudest part of the truth is the part they hide last. And now the world waits. You've seen the names, you've heard the tapes. You've watched the timeline twist itself into something darker than any of us expected. And now the question isn't if more is coming, it's when and who's next. What do you believe? Was this a real exposure? Or was it a calculated sacrifice, just like Diddy's voice hinted? Was Katt Williams truly warning us out of love for the truth? Or was he unknowingly playing right into a controlled distraction? And most importantly, who do you think is on the real list, the one they don't want leaking? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Who do you think is part of the untouchable inner circle? Was Katt manipulated? Or is he 10 steps ahead of the entire industry? Should the rest of Hollywood be held accountable for staying silent this long? We're not just reading comments, we're documenting the theories. Because this story, it's still unfolding, and the people trying to control the narrative are watching you just as closely. So do your part. Fire smash that like button if you're tired of industry lies. Fire hit subscribe to join the only channel that's not scared to talk about the real fallout. Fire and turn on notifications, because when that 12-day countdown ends, we're dropping everything. You think it's over? Nah, we're just getting started. This isn't just gossip. This is the undoing of the machine, and Katt Williams told you first.